Greetings, and welcome to another fire episode of the RoundTable. Welcome us up. My name is Drew, and I am a co-host of this fabulous show. Today is Friday, October the 13th, 2023, and welcome to what is going to be another fire episode. Brother Griff, how are we doing on this fine Friday, man?
Man, blessed and highly favored. Glad that I made it, brother. Like you, man, driving through that traffic and stuff, man. I say, Griff, just be safe so you can get back here so you can be on the show with your boy Drew. So that's all I thought about, man. But I'm glad to be here, bro.
You and I both, man. It has been one crazy week around this world of ours. And we can take solace in the surprises that are going to come this upcoming weekend in the National Football League, as well as the NCAA. And, welcome to week 6 of the NFL. Welcome to week 7 of the NCAA. And welcome to all members of the RoundTable. And thank you for joining us on another episode tonight as we engage in this dialogue and attempt to break down what is going to happen this weekend, both on the collegiate level as well as on the national level, on the professional level. Right. And the best way to start it off is with our Super Bowl champions. Our Super Bowl champions welcomed into their home last night a Denver Broncos team that is going through a whole lot of turmoil, a whole lot of trying to figure themselves out, a whole lot of, is this the quarterback? Is this the coach? Is this the worst team ever created? Is this the worst defense ever created? Does the defensive coordinator, Joseph, even deserve to have a job? And were there any surprises last night? I would think not. We both looked at this game and came out of it with knowing the Kansas City defense or the Kansas City Chiefs were a better team than the Denver Broncos, or a better team than the Denver Broncos. Obviously, proven through their record, proven through their recent history with the Kansas City Chiefs being 2-time Super Bowl champs. You have the best quarterback in the National Football League leading that team. So there were no surprises in the victory column, the W column for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're not surprised that the Denver Broncos took it out. Or are we surprised as to how the Denver Broncos perform? Or are we surprised as to the Kansas City Chiefs not being as proficient as people have expected them to become or be? What do you think, Griff?
Two things, man. One, I was actually surprised how the Denver Broncos defense played last night. Even though they lost that game, their team was actually in the game the whole time. Their offense was awful. And it almost made me feel as though like they was tanking. I mean, honestly, like Sean Payton is truly tanking because at the end of the day, he definitely don't want him. It's something about him and Russ that just not clicking. As far as Kansas City, man, their offense is still lackluster, bro. You see me say it last night. I just don't understand. One, I don't understand how Travis Kelce is always open. When you know, and that's the only person that basically Mahomes is looking for, but their offense still hasn't done anything for me. The defense, it played pretty good or whatever, but yeah, man, if Denver offense would have just showed up a little bit, they probably would have won that game last night.
No, you're absolutely right. And I've been beating this drum since the beginning of the season on opening night when Detroit went into Kansas City and came out with a W. But more importantly, the Kansas City offense did not look like the Kansas City offense of old. Got it. We've always known that Patrick Mahomes was that guy. We know that Travis Kelce is that guy. But other than those two, which obviously were on full display last night, Kansas City is not the Kansas City that we've come to know and love for those of us that love the Kansas City Chiefs. they are a very good NFL team. They are not head and shoulders above the rest of the AFC. And I do not believe that they are the best team in the AFC, even though they are sitting at 5-1 after last night's game. What does this say about the Denver Broncos? You know, we've come to believe that Sean Payton is this quarterback whisperer. He turns average quarterbacks into Super Bowl winning quarterbacks or Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Well, he's only done or had the opportunity to work with one Hall of Famer, and that's Drew Brees. And we've come to say that, well, Sean Payton turned Drew Brees into a Hall of Famer. Is that actually true?
You know, it was. Drew Brees was good with the Chargers, man. He got hurt.
Exactly.
He was good with the Chargers.
Now, Sean is an excellent offensive guru. I've seen that firsthand for well over a decade with my New Orleans Saints, and they had tremendous success over that 10-plus years that he was down there in New Orleans offensively. They did have their rough spots. They did have those years where they were not making the playoffs. A couple of years they went 7-9, but the offense was always clicking. It has not transitioned to the Denver Broncos. Now, what does that say about Sean Payton as a coach, and what does that say about Russell Wilson as a quarterback? Is Russ done? Has Russ cooked his last meal? No, he hasn't, because prior to last night, Russ is on track to have a very good year. Yeah. Right? His completion percentages is up in the upper 60s. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns in the short time that this offense have been on the field, even though it's been 6 games now, and they are currently 1-5. Russ individually is having a better year than he had last year. The defense is historically bad. They are the worst in the league right now. They are quite possibly the worst defense in the 21st century thus far. And Sean Payton has a lot of explaining to do before he can start bumping his gums at other individuals in the league outside of the Denver locker room. Yeah, he might be tanking, right, to get that high draft pick next year, which would be not good.
It could be, man. I know we got to move on to the next one, but like as I look at the comments, man, you know, Sean Payton is one of those guys. First of all, he sat out the league because of his suspension or whatever, and you know, all it takes is 1 or 2 years to be out of the league, and the game can go right past you, bro. And these guys that's not willing to adjust, they become extinct. I think D. Hicks asked if should Russell Wilson retire. I wouldn't completely put him in the retirement category yet, because sometimes it's just, you know, this system that he in right now is just because his receivers not even showing up. So maybe Russ might need to because you know, you see what happened with Jerry Jeudy and Steve Smith Jr. Senior. He gave him the business, but again, he gave him the business, I think, in a constructive way and not in a destructive way. And these young guys is either put up or shut up. So I just think if Sean don't adjust, just like you see it throughout the league, you see it with Bill Belichick, you see it with all these guys, the way that they have been accustomed to coaching, it just don't work. Yes, sir. I'm quiet.
Yes. Next and before we move, just as we are moving, as we are transitioning, Dolan and Jordan, our producers be beating us up, y'all, just so y'all know, behind the scenes. Before we move to the 49ers and the Browns game, I just want to say one thing. It is Friday the 13th, and on Friday the 13th, strange things tend to happen. And on this Friday the 13th, Troy actually said something that actually makes sense. Starting off the show, Troy hit it dead on the head. Russ is not a pocket passer like Drew was. Sean needs to adjust to, I won't say exploit, but bring out and highlight Russ's capabilities. Incorporate the play action pass, those quarterback rollouts, those called quarterback runs to keep the defense off balance. So good point, Troy. I give you kudos for that. Now moving on to this weekend's games. Man, we got some good ones this weekend. Let's start off with the best team in the NFL right now, traveling to a team, the Cleveland Browns, coming off of a bye week and are prepared and are ready for the best team in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns have one or two defense in the National Football League. They have either the best or the second best up against their own opponent, who is San Francisco, who either has the best or the second best defense themselves. Your favorite coach, who you wish was your coach, came out and said that Cleveland is going to present a different challenge than the Cowboys did, a more defensive toughness-related challenge than the Cowboys did. Do you think Brock Purdy can take this high-powered San Francisco offense and go into Cleveland against that vaunted defense that Cleveland has, led by Myles Garrett, that love to pin their ears back and get after not only the quarterback, but that run game that San Francisco is going to bring? How do you think Shanahan is going to call this game?
First of all, when you what you said about Shanahan, that's what all coaches do, man. It's a psychological thing to say, hey, we get ready to play a much better team that's going to cause us problems, because they know some people looking at it and they take that. But I don't see Brock Purdy, the way Shanahan runs his offense, I don't see Cleveland being an issue. And I'm not taking anything away from Cleveland's defense, the pressure, but Brock Purdy don't hold the ball long enough for it to even be an issue. And then when you start looking at those weapons with Debo, Christian McCaffrey. Matter of fact, Christian McCaffrey wasn't even a factor in this last week game when they blew the Cowboys out, and they still had Debo, they still had Ayuk, they still had Kittle. I don't see it being an issue, Drew, me personally. And plus, the problem that I see with the Browns is they still haven't determined whether or not Deshaun Watson is going to be playing. And so that's going to be another factor that's going to be determining my pick for this week. But I just don't see the 49ers being an issue. Shanahan is playing chess, and everybody else in the league is playing checkers.
Now, you're right. Definitely, Shanahan is definitely playing chess, and Deshaun Watson's availability is going to make a difference as to whether or not Cleveland has a legitimate shot in this game, or whether or not San Francisco is going to walk away with this game by the early third period. I do believe that the Cleveland Browns are going to play this somewhat close to the vest, especially if Deshaun Watson is not available to play this weekend. Their run game is still solid. They still have one of the better run games in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
Your guy, Amari Cooper, is that staple for whoever is taking the snaps for Cleveland. So I don't look for the San Francisco defense led by Bosa and Walker or who's the linebacker?
You talking about not Khalil? You talking about Warner?
Warner, yes, Warner. To pin their ears back and do what they did to Cleveland that they did to Dallas. So I look for this game to be much more competitive. And if Deshaun Watson does play this weekend, you have a dual threat, just like you expect Debo and McCaffrey to be that dual threat for San Francisco. Expect Deshaun and or Cooper and that running game to keep the Cleveland Browns in the game. Now, the dog pound is going to be alive. Okay. The dog pound is going to be festive. So you look for Cleveland's defense to try to make an early statement in this game by getting a turnover, by getting the crowd behind them, and making this one of those types of games that is going to cost you flying in from the West Coast, starting an early day game for the San Francisco 49ers, and take advantage of that and make this a one-possession game in the fourth quarter, and then anything is possible. So don't look for a cakewalk from the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Cleveland, because I believe Myles Garrett has something to say about Brock Purdy getting all of this love early in the season. People talking about he is a top 5 quarterback, and whether or not Brock Purdy is head and shoulders above all of the other quarterbacks in the AFC besides, of course, that young man down there in Kansas City.
Hey, check this out. Troy said they didn't rule Deshaun Watson out for this weekend. So,
well, I mean, obviously San Francisco was going to be favored before the Deshaun Watson call was made, and the point spread is going to widen just a little bit. So it's safe to say that we're probably both going to go into this weekend picking San Francisco, but I'm still looking for a competitive game because the Kansas City or the Cleveland defense is no joke.
It's gonna be much better than the Cowboy. I mean, and you know I'm a Cowboy fan, but I'm gonna just say this, man. San Francisco getting their money worth out of Purdy.
They are.
That's how
They
I
are.
see it.
And before we move on to the next game, man, I just have to say this about Purdy. You know, we say that either a quarterback is a game manager or a difference maker. I have always been on the train that Brock Purdy is riding this train and is a passenger and just there to manage the game. But now he's the conductor. He has taken control of this team. This is his team to lead, and he is leading them, right? Yes. He has a perfect regular season record of 9-0. Most likely will be 10-0 after this weekend. But I want to make sure that everybody understands Brock Purdy is just not Mr. Irrelevant anymore. He is a legitimate NFL starter. He is definitely a top 15 quarterback in the National Football League. And he is bordering on being a top 6, top 7 quarterback going into the midseason stretch. All right, moving on, man. My guys, the Houday family, the Cincinnati Bengals going or welcoming in, they wrote him off, but he didn't write back, Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks, and the fastest chewing coach in the National Football League, Pete Carroll. Seattle is good. The Bengals look like they found themselves last week, right? Because Jamar said, I'm always effing open. Throw me the ball. And, of course, his battle buddy, Joe, threw him the ball. What is Joe's favorite saying? F it. Jamar's out there. He'll catch it. And that's what happened last week when the Cincinnati Bengals decided to become the Cincinnati Bengals again. Can they carry that momentum from last week's victory into this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks, who is a proven team now? They're not a fluke. We know that the Seahawks are good. We know that Geno Smith is a legit starter. We know that DK Metcalf is that guy. Can Seattle go into Cincinnati and walk away with a dub?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, anything is possible, to be honest. I think with the way their defense is playing, the way their offense is playing, they definitely have the ability. We already know that that the Bengals is not good at protecting Joe Burrows. So if they're able to,
Brother Cobb, man, Leonard Cobb, I need to talk to you.
Oh yeah. So if what's going on, Cobb? If they're able to get that pressure on him, because you know they have Jamar Chase, and they got Boyd, but I think Higgins is going to be out again this week. He got hurt last week, and Seattle has been pretty good against the run. So if they can shut Mixon down and get some pressure on Burrows, which we know every team has had the opportunity. Matter of fact, I think Burrows has. Let me see. I wrote down my stats. Shucks, I didn't write it down. I can't remember how many sacks he got, man. But that's going to be the issue. That's going to be
too much. He got too many.
Yeah,
too many. That's what he got. No, you're absolutely right, man. And this is going to be the hardest game for me to pick this weekend.
Yeah,
because Seattle is that team. And I've been saying since the beginning of the season, the AFC is the better conference. The division that was best in the AFC to me is the AFC North with the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. But at the same time, the NFC West looks like it's stacking up to be, if not just as good, probably better. And this is going to be one of those games that decides which division is better. Seattle, to me, has a legitimate shot not only to go into Cincinnati and win this game, but they have a legitimate shot to go into Cincinnati and win this game easily. If that offensive line is not able to keep Burrow upright and give him the time to find Jamar Chase and give him time to find Boyd and give Mixon the gaps that he is going to need to be able to run the ball. So to me, again, toughest one to pick for me this weekend. I am definitely looking for Geno and the Seattle Seahawks and Metcalf to go into Cincinnati and put up some good numbers. Now, whether or not they are able to do that and come out with a dub, we'll see at the end of the show when we make our selections.
All right. On to your squad. Let's go on to
your game of the weekend, baby.
To the Who Dat squad.
The Who Dat squad. This is the scariest game of the weekend for me. Because my Saints, man, they are so scary and not scary good, just scary.
Yeah.
Period. Because you don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know which team showing up.
My Saints are just like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get from week to week.
Okay, Forrest. Okay.
Yeah, because, Pete Carmichael, man, is not that guy for me anymore. Ever since the departure of the aforementioned Sean Payton, who was that trusted mind on offense for the Saints. I don't think Pete Carmichael has picked up that baton and ran with it at all in the 3 seasons that he has led the offense since Payton's absence. And your Houston Texans, man, they sneaky good.
Hey, man, good. Look, if you look at the numbers, man, statistically, as a quarterback starting, C.J. Stroud has beat all the greats in his first, and as well as, everybody talked all about, how he wasn't going to be that guy, but he done got better and better. Actually, they should have won last week. They gave that game away to Atlanta at the end of the game. And coming down here to H-Town, man, H-Town is actually starting to get people to fill these seats up, man. But Houston is having a problem with stopping the run. And if the Saints can get Kamara involved, I think y'all gonna be okay. Y'all definitely got the offensive weapons. Y'all X factor is Carr. Your defense is legit, man. But I can tell you again, C.J. Stroud ain't been sacked that many times this year either. But
that's true.
Carr is y'all X factor because you don't know. Hey, that's your box of chocolates right there. You don't know. You don't know which car you gonna get.
That is true, man. That is true.
They playing the H-Town. They playing the H-Town, Harold. They playing here in H-Town.
Yeah. As the old saying goes, the Lord giveth and then the Lord taketh away. I gave Troy some praise at the beginning of the show. Troy, I just took it away. How dare you go against my Saints? No, but this is a toss-up game. And regardless of whether or not they're playing in NOLA or in H-Town, these are next door neighbors. And they don't play each other often, but anytime they do come together and play each other, it is an exciting game. And you are correct. Alvin Kamara is the difference maker, not Carr, because as soon as Carr begins to jack it up, I'm calling our 4th, 5th, and 6th quarterback Taysom Hill.
Your Swiss Army knife. That's your Swiss. That's your Swiss Army knife.
That he is, baby. So Kamara and Taysom Hill are going to be the true difference makers for the Saints offense, in my opinion. And if Carr is able to get the time that he needs, the Saints have a trio of receivers that can carve up any defense, and that is to include the 49ers and the Cleveland Browns, because those 3 receivers are able to get separation. Mike doesn't need separation. All you need to do is throw the ball in his vicinity. Olave can lead people out just like the Miami Dolphins receivers can lead people out. And Shaheed is a speedster just like the Miami Dolphins trio. So if Carr and our raggedy offensive line is able to give him a couple of seconds in the passing game, play action passes, I definitely believe the Saints should come out of there with a dub, because we do have one of the top 5 defenses in the National Football League, and we are going to apply a lot of pressure on a young quarterback. And just based on history, the Saints eat young quarterbacks for a living. So look for C.J. Stroud to get a lot of pressure that he has not seen yet this season.
He got Tunsil back, man. Tunsil come back this week, but let's talk about it. I looked at when they did the numbers. You know that your team gave up 17 sacks this year too.
That's why I said our raggedy offensive line. I know my offensive line is raggedy. So that's why we need 2 to 5 seconds, not 2 to 3 seconds. We need 2 to 5 seconds to ensure that Derek Carr or Jameis Winston has an opportunity, or Taysom Hill has an opportunity to sit back in that pocket and get those passes out. But you always, even though we've given up those 17 sacks, we did not have Alvin Kamara those first 3 games, which is the immediate outlet.
Yeah.
And he can turn a 1-yard pass into an 80-yard gain. So I feel comfortable with Kamara in the backfield.
Facts.
Saints are going to win this game. I'm going on record right now, and I'm picking.
Man, how you giving your picks already, man? You doing it too soon.
I only gave one.
Okay.
Now, a game that you looked at the very beginning of the season and said, well, this is most likely not going to be an exciting game because coming into the season, we thought the Colts were on their way down, Jaguars on their way up, right? And this is a AFC South game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. Richardson is sidelined. Richardson is on the IR. So you have, who is it? Gardner Minshew as the backup.
Manchu magic, baby. Manchu magic.
Just like you used to have Fitz magic. He'll give you 400 yards and then give you 4 interceptions all in the same game.
Yeah.
Minshew is not like that, but he is capable of winning a big game. I do recall him putting up some big numbers against the Dallas Cowboys a couple of years ago, or last year maybe. You know, so he is a quarterback that is able to lead a team to a victory. But they're going up against Sunshine and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I told you last week were going to stop the Buffalo Bills as they thought they were going to.
Yes, you did.
This is the weekend that Jacksonville takes control of the AFC South if they want to be serious contenders, because this is not a cakewalk for them. The Colts are actually sneaky good and who have their running back, right?
Yeah.
Who is chomping to earn some of that money that he just signed. What do you think?
They had Taylor last week. Taylor was on a pitch count, so he definitely going to have more involvement this week than he did last week. But hell, Moss is running that ball pretty good. Plus, you got Pittman over there, man. But what I will say, Jacksonville is 0-2 at home. They undefeated across the water.
I know, right?
But then they come home, man, and they have lackluster performances. On paper, definitely the Jaguars. I mean, you seen last week Ridley and Sunshine connected. You see Etienne running that ball, man. They even got Zach Jones and Kirk involved last week. If they come out there and play the exact same way, it could be a long day for the Colts. But yeah, I think you're gonna get a heavy dose of Taylor this week.
Yeah. You know, and you mentioned the Jacksonville Jaguars being 0-2 at home, but I think Trevor Lawrence and Peterson have implemented a game plan specifically for this weekend, knowing and understanding that this is a divisional game and we need this game. And it's now time to really strap in because we're heading into that mid-season stretch where every game not only counts, but how we win counts more than just winning. It is staying healthy and ensuring that the offensive scheme is something that is fluid and it's evolving. And I believe if the Jaguars go into this game with that game plan and not allow themselves to be distracted or detracted from their game plan, regardless of what the scoreboard says in the first half, whether or not it's a tight game or a nip and tuck game, I think the Jaguars are primed to show the rest of the country, show the rest of the NFL that they are to be taken serious, because we know they're good. We know they went into Arrowhead last year in the playoffs and not only played against the defending Super Bowl champions well, but it was a 3-point game late in the fourth quarter, and the Jacksonville Jaguars had an opportunity to walk out of there with a dub. Doug Peterson is looking to make the Jaguars relevant in
Yeah,
a big way this weekend. So we shall see.
it would definitely be if he want to do that, then he need to do it this weekend because they are one of the teams that we said was going to be in the top of the AFC in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah.
Hey, before we move on, hey, I just want to thank everybody again for jumping on here. I always, for those that didn't get a notification, if you go to the podcast, the RoundTable podcast page, and you like that page, you'll get notifications every time we go live. If you go on YouTube and you subscribe to the RoundTable podcast page, you'll get a notification as well. And please continue to share me and Drew as you sit down and we talk football. But let's go ahead and go to the next game, Drew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the most intriguing game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Because you have the Philadelphia Eagles going into New York, going up against the New York Jets, who were quite possibly on everybody's lips as a possible Super Bowl team at the beginning of the season. Got it. All of that came crashing down as soon as Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon. But in the 5 weeks since, there seems to be a glimmer of hope. There seems to be life left in the Jets. It seems that Zach Wilson quite possibly could be, maybe, I don't know, an actual quarterback. And the Philadelphia Eagles, granted, are still undefeated. They are 5-0. But we still don't think that they're the top tier of the NFC. We have that title going to the 49ers, right? And a lot of people are putting the Philadelphia Eagles as the second best team simply because they are 5-0. They haven't really shown themselves to be the Philadelphia Eagles of 2022. Do we think that we're going to actually see the Philadelphia Eagles everybody thought was going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles coming into this season? Or is that person who could be possibly an actual NFL quarterback going to lead a very good New York Jets team with a phenomenal run game and a tenacious defense past their neighbors to the south and give the Eagles their first L?
You need to write a book. You know what you need to do. You need to write a book, bro, because you be embellishing some bull crap and the suspense and the drama that you put into that bull crap. I mean, I think you be believing that stuff too. But I'm gonna tell you
my record shows my belief.
Look, bro. Look, granted, the Eagles have not showed us on the offensive side of the ball the Eagles that we saw last year. But that defense is still the defense. Granted, they got some injuries or whatever, but that defense is the reason why the Eagles are still 5-0. I'm not taking anything. Yes, it has been some glimmers of greatness here recently with Zach Wilson. He just started to get a little bit comfortable with the offense. They definitely have a good defense. If the Jets are smart, they'll definitely take it out of Zach Wilson's hand and try to win the game and pound the ball with Breece Hall and with Dalvin Cook, because that's what really been making Wilson look a little bit more comfortable because they've been able to run the ball. But on the flip side of it, you playing an Eagles team that's pretty good at stopping the run. So now you're gonna force Zach Wilson to be something that, for lack of better terms, he is not that guy that you embellish him to be.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you said that. I see Karen is going with the Eagles. Harold is going with the Eagles. Leonard, my man Cobb, is going with the Eagles. Everybody going with the Eagles. I guarantee you, I can talk some of y'all into changing your mind and giving the Jets a legitimate shot by the end of this show. I'm telling you, the Jets Jets got something for y'all this weekend. Don't have your lip hung out at the end of Sunday evening when the Jets come out with the dub. I'm telling you, this game is not going to be as easy as you think it is going to be. You said, and I'm going to ask you a question before we move on. You said the Jets need to take the ball out of Zach Wilson's hands, give it to Hall, try to run down the throats of the Eagles defense. We know Georgia North is not going to allow that, right? So if you are going and game planning against the Philadelphia Eagles defense, where do you go? Do I take my chances and try to attack the defensive backfield? Or do I try to run down the throat of the front seven. Real quick before we move
on. I'm a firm believer. You always try to run the ball first. And I ain't talking about run the ball 1 or 2 times, because anybody can stop the run 1 or 2 times. I just see too many teams get away from the run too soon. And the ability that the Jets have to run the ball, if it's me, and I'm not saying that don't let Zach throw the ball at all, but what makes him comfortable is their ability to run. So for me, they got to try to run the ball, and to keep the Eagles offense off the field.
I got you. And I appreciate the whistle there, Coach, so we can move on. But Troy asked if I'm going with the Jets. That is why you have to wait the entire 59 minutes and 59 seconds, Troy, to find out what my pick is going to be at the end of the show. I know you like to log off every time we hurt your feelings, but I want you to stick with us tonight and wait to the end of the segment or wait to the end of the show, and I will tell you who's going to win this game. Now, another game between two division leaders. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are division leaders going up against the Detroit Lions. Two teams that historically Tom Brady and that Super Bowl from way back when, that have struggled to have success, consistent success in the NFL. I think the last time the Lions won a playoff game, Jimmy Carter was the president. I'm just joking. It was actually no, it was. No, I'm just joking. Only one playoff victory in 57 years. That I can attest to.
Jimmy
but no. These are not your grandfather's Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. They are not, right? You have a quarterback who is definitely playing like a top 5 quarterback this year. You have an offense that is clicking on almost all cylinders. And I don't know whether or not our young Tampa Bay Buccaneers have what it takes to stop this train that is the Detroit Lions. But I'm looking forward to it. What do you think?
I think the key to the Buccaneers' success, they got to put pressure on Goff. If Goff have time to sit back and pick you apart, he will. But Goff does not handle pressure well at all. And it's been proven. He didn't handle it at the Rams, and he definitely handled it well with Detroit. Vita Beta and those guys over there on the other side of the Buccaneers defense, they definitely have a chance. Now, the Lions, I think they do get Jahmyr Gibbs back this week, so they're going to get a heavy dose of Jahmyr Gibbs, as well as, Montgomery has been having a great season. Plus that dude, Laporta, that tight end, man, he has been a key factor. But I think the Lions is going to be missing St. Brown. I think St. Brown is out this week, so that's going to leave it on Reynolds and Raymond to step a little bit. But that Detroit Lions team, like you said, is not your dad or your grandfather's Detroit, because they done bought into what they coach is putting down, man. Them, and Campbell is one of those guys that grew up old school, but he didn't adjust it. And again, that's where that adjusting piece come into play. So, yeah, this is one of those games, because I've been looking at it. As much as we beat Baker Mayfield up earlier this year, Baker is quietly having a good season himself. And I think Mike Evans is actually averaging over 100 yards a game. I mean, almost all the games he done played this year. So it's been the Mike Evans and Godwin show. The problem with the Buccaneers, though, they haven't been able to establish a run game. And so again, when you become one-dimensional, it can hurt, bro. So
no, you're right.
That's my take on that one.
Yeah, you are correct. You are correct. We've been pleasantly surprised by Baker Mayfield. We may actually see him in a commercial by if he might actually be brought back into the Heisman house by Thanksgiving if Tampa Bay continues to have success. But the difference this year with the Detroit Lions is not only Jared Goff and the offensive success that they have enjoyed, it is a Detroit Lions defense that is as tenacious and gets after the opponent as much as the offense loves to put up points. So this is a game where you would not think that home field advantage is going to play a big part, being that the game is in Tampa this weekend. But you can never, ever, 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 ever dismiss Baker, as I learned several weeks ago. So we are going to see whether or not the Detroit Lions continue this ride into prosperity and go into Tampa Bay and come out of Tampa Bay with a 5-1 record. And we say it together,
5-1. 5-1.
In the middle of October.
It'll definitely be a statement. It'll be a statement, bro. It'll be a statement in the NFC. It would.
It would. Your Detroit Lions coming out 5-1. So we shall see. And ladies and gentlemen, the redemption game that is going to make it or break it for both of these upcoming teams. I mean to tell you, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to hype anything up. I am here to tell you, with all of the craziness that is happening in today's world, if we come out of Monday night at 12 o'clock on Tuesday morning and the Dallas Cowboys are 3-3, it's going to be some problems.
Yeah, man.
All week long in Jerry's world, because they're traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. They're not playing a team that they are expected to beat. They are playing a team that has something to prove. It's personal. Why is it personal? Because the Cowboys got rid of the number one offensive coordinator, the kid genius, last year, who had their team as the number one offense in the National Football League scoring-wise, and sent him packing because Mike McCarthy said, I want to do things my way. My name is Frank Sinatra, 2023. It's my way. Now, how can we go into Los Angeles, La La Land, to a team that has zero fan base, other than our few Charger fans here, and allow the boy wonder who was the future of the Cowboys to spank us? I don't want to talk about your quarterback. I don't want to talk about your offense. I want to talk about that vaunted Dallas defense that was supposed to be something that was going to shut down the 49ers and got spanked. But can they come back and do it for real this time against a team that, for all of its problems, all of its coaching issues, has a very good offense?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to be concerned about y'all Cowboys fans come Monday night?
I ain't gonna say you need to be concerned. For real fans, you got to. It's a difference between a real Cowboy fan and then you got delusional.
You're back in the good column, Troy. I see you. You're back in the good column.
Well, first of all, anytime you talk about the Cowboys, Troy is good. Y'all in good favors. He love you, so it don't make a difference. But you do have delusional Cowboy fans. I'm a realist. I love my Cowboys, but I'm gonna be honest. I am somewhat. I want to see how we're gonna rebound from what took place last week, because last week, man, that I want that to be an outlier. I don't want that to be that thing. We got to make some adjustments on defense. Michael Parsons is gonna have to play linebacker now because of Van Der Esch being hurt. So you won't see him lined up on that end as much. You got they running back is coming back. Keenan Allen is averaging over 100 yards, and with Mike Williams being out of the game, you know, that's going to be that primary target. So we got to see how the secondary is going to handle it. But I know that I'm not dealing with an offensive line that is good as the 49ers offensive line. So we might have that opportunity. What my real concern is them bookends that they got over there on the Charger side, and Bosa and Khalil Mack. Those are the ones that's what my biggest concern. I need the Cowboys to come out and run the ball. Like Mike McCarthy said it was going to happen this year, but it has not happened. Again, Pollard only ran the ball 8 times last week. And you saying you are dedicating or you gonna focus on the run. So I'm worried. I ain't gonna sit up here and try to act like I ain't.
So you are worried, and I take that, and I appreciate that. And you said that there are all those Cowboys fans that, you know, have that blind faith. And before we move on, I got to finish my thought. That no matter how the Cowboys perform, it's always we them boys. I refer to my brother Clarence. Brother Clarence, my brother. Die-hard Cowboys fans. Mm-hmm. Die-hard. But I got to give you props for last weekend, the Louisville Cardinals spanking up on Notre Dame. Kudos to your team. But Clarence is one of them die-hard Cowboys fans that no matter what's going on, he believes, because I believe And Clarence already said in the chat, the Cowboy defense is going to show up this weekend, and they are going to dominate because your guy, Micah Parsons,
he got a chip on his shoulder. He got a huge
chip on his shoulder.
His mouth will put that chip on his shoulder, though.
Right, but he does have the physical attributes to back it up. And Micah Parsons is one of those who can speak and say, hey, we are going to improve and mean it because his physical play shows you what he can do. But I'm afraid for y'all, man. I am afraid how Cowboy Nation is going to react if you do not win this game. This is going to be a competitive game. I said that the Seahawks-Bengals game was the hardest game for me to pick. This is not so hard, but we're about to find out. Troy, you watching? Take notes. Let's go. You ready to pick these?
What they say?
Are you ready to catch up? Are you ready to catch up, Griff, and go 7 for 7 while I go 0 for 7 in my picks, and you can close the gap? Let's see what you got. Let's pick these games, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, so here go my picks, and I saw we can get caught up. So I got the 49ers over the Browns. I actually have I got the Seahawks over the Bengals. I have the Saints over over Houston. I done picked the Jaguars over the Colts. I got the Eagles over the Jets, the Lions over the Buccaneers, and my loyalty won't allow me to do anything else but to select my Cowboys over the Chargers.
So I see that you went all safe. You went all safe. You went with the same every single game except for the Saints game.
What about the Seahawks-Bengal game? So you telling me the Seahawks-Bengal game was going safe? Because everybody picked the Cincinnati.
You went with the Bengals. You went with the Bengals.
With Seattle.
You went with Seattle. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, that is where we're going to separate. So I will tag team and say, okay, San Francisco is going to beat the Browns simply because of Deshaun Watson not beating there to partake in this game. With the Bengals and the Seahawks, as much as everybody has written off my man Gino, he decided not to write back. I believe that they do travel to Cincinnati this weekend and take that L because Cincinnati is going to take care of business. Didn't the Jamar Chase tell y'all he's always open? Throw him the damn ball. That is exactly what's going to happen. Cincinnati is going to take this game at home. Saints travel to Houston and put a lot of pressure on your young quarterback, even though Houston is going to play well. C.J. Stroud is going to make a late mistake and throw his first interception of the season, and the Saints will seal that victory. The Jaguars against the Colts. The Jags have to make a statement. The Jags will make that statement and take control of the AFC South, winning at home this weekend. The Eagles traveling up to the Jets. Man, this is the game to call right here. I think the Eagles take their first L. I'm giving you an opportunity to catch up. The Eagles will take their first L this weekend, and there will be one undefeated team remaining in the National Football League. And come Tuesday, when our next show comes on, we're going to be talking about, man, is Zach Wilson actually good enough to take the Jets to the playoffs? That is going to be the conversation. And when we bring that up, I'm going to say congratulations to Zach Wilson for winning, but they still need to go and trade for Kirk Cousins because Zach Wilson is not that guy just yet. So Jets are going to win this game. Lions will travel down to Tampa Bay and win. And Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, the game that decides it all. The battle between the 3-2 Dallas Cowboys and the 2-2 Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers.
Go ahead, then. Go on.
I'm going with the Chargers to shock the world and shock the Cowboys, and having everybody in Cowboy Nation pulling their hair out. Michael Irvin losing his mind on television, talking about what is wrong. And Jerry Jones getting on his local talk show Tuesday morning saying Dak is still that guy.
Quarterback.
So, man, moving on to what really, really excites everybody every weekend, and that's NCAA football. The biggest game of the weekend this weekend, the Pac-12. The Pac-12. The number 7 Washington Huskies are welcoming in the number 8 Oregon Ducks. our favorite quarterback who used to be in the SEC, who has been playing college football longer than Bennett has ever played football. It seems like Bo Nix has been in college football since Cam Newton left Auburn. Matter of fact, Bo Nix
He was playing when Cam
still in college.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Because of COVID.
Right. I'm just making fun. Does Oregon have a legitimate shot to go into Washington? And we saw what Oregon did to Colorado.
Yeah.
But for those who have not seen the Washington Huskies, that is that is a team that Oregon not going to run up and down the field on. That is a team that has its own Heisman hopeful. That is a team whose Heisman hopeful is a better quarterback than Bo Nix, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that the lefty, we all know lefties are the joint. So I'm definitely looking forward to this game. What do you think?
I think it's going to come down to defense, and I think Oregon has the better defense between the two. I don't take nothing away from Washington's quarterback. The guy is one of the front runners for the Heisman, but it's going to come down to the defense in this game right here. And the team that walk away from this is going to have a legitimate shot of playing in the college football playoff game.
I'm going to go the complete opposite. I think it's going to be an LSU Ole Miss type game, or Colorado State type game, or USC Colorado game. Both teams are going to score 50 points. Both teams are going to light it up. And I think the Washington Huskies at home take down the Oregon Ducks. Next big game, with all of the hoopla that disappoints, it seems like every year, the Trojans of Southern California are traveling to South Bend, Indiana to take on your Fighting Irish that no longer have fight in them, but are actually favored to beat Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans. How is Notre Dame favored in this game?
Because of USC's defense. They keep everybody in the game.
Everybody got a shot.
Everybody got a shot against this team, man. Caleb Williams is going to put the numbers up that you look for. But the problem is their defense can't stop nothing, bro. Like Troy like to say, they like wet toilet paper, bro. They ain't catching nothing.
That is true. And so the question is, does the USC offense have enough to outscore the Notre Dame offense?
I think they do.
Notre Dame's defense is okay.
Scoring wise, I don't see USC. I see it, man. Notre Dame don't have that. Sam Hartman is okay, but again, he been exposed. When they needed him the most, he ain't showed up either. In the last game, where he threw 3 interceptions, man. So I think Caleb Williams gonna give him the points, but USC defense is gonna keep the game close.
Yeah, and this is a toss-up game for me. So I will not be surprised if Notre Dame wins, but I'm gonna go with the USC Trojans to pull this one out. All right, next game. This should be a easy game for the Alabama Crimson Tide, going up against an SEC West opponent, the Arkansas Razorbacks. And this should be a cakewalk for y'all, don't you think?
I ain't gonna say cakewalk. I mean, again, I want to see how the offense is gonna play this. The defense been looking better ever since the Texas game, so I like what I see with the defense. They definitely surprised me last week because they did something completely different than I thought. They actually Texas A&M said, y'all gonna have to beat us with the pass. That's exactly what they did. They veered away from the run, and Milroe actually had the best game of his career as a quarterback. He threw for over 300 yards. And then Burden even showed up. Lord Jesus, the guy that I wanted to send back to Georgia because he ain't really done nothing since he been there. But we playing at home. Ain't nothing like playing in that stadium in Bryant Stadium. That's going to be the problem with Arkansas. They quarterback seem like he been playing as long as Bo Nix too. Jefferson been in the league for a long time too.
Yeah, I think Jefferson done made his round. So I'll go with you and go with the Roll Tide on this one. Next game, the Miami Hurricanes threw a game away last weekend to a team that were underdogs by 20-plus points. They did not want that dub, so they say, hey, here you go, Georgia Tech. Going up against a tough North Carolina team, do you think Miami has a chance traveling up to?
I think again, because of what happened with Miami last week, I'm gonna take Mac Brown and North Carolina because at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to coaching. And man, the Miami whole coaching staff should be fired after what happened last week in that game that they gave away.
Correct. You are absolutely correct. That was the biggest coaching debacle this century, quite possibly in the history of the university itself. And I don't know how they recover from that, knowing that game was theirs, knowing that game was a game they needed, knowing that game was a conference game. So it's going to eventually cost them because they still had hopes of coming out of the ACC South and possibly, dethroning what everyone thinks is going to be Florida State. I think Carolina takes care of business and defends home field. Now, on to the biggest game of the weekend, the biggest game of the century. No, the Auburn Tigers against the almighty Louisiana State University Tigers.
Man. This the only time because again, we ain't got that much time. This is the only time you're going to get me to say who that. Because I can't say the other team over there. Can't do it. Refute, won't even say their name. Your defense need to show up though, bro. Your defense been lackluster here. If y'all didn't have Jaden Daniels, boy, y'all would definitely be scrubbing the bottom of the barrel.
Bro. Our coach, along with your coach, but our coach makes $9,975,000 annually as his base salary. Apparently, that's not part of his contract to put together a defense that represents the state of Louisiana, that represents Louisiana State University, that represents an SEC team. He still think he playing up in Indiana. Like, come on, man. We play defense down there in the Southeastern Conference. And you need to ensure that LSU shows up with a defense this weekend because Auburn is good enough to go into Baton Rouge on a Saturday night, 7 o'clock, the best atmosphere in college football, Saturday night in Death Valley, regardless of who is on the field against LSU. Auburn is good enough to go in to that stadium and come out with a dub. So LSU's defense better show up. You bet their defense better show up. But I still got my Tigers and Jaden Daniels, our Heisman hopeful, who is going to lead those Bengal Tigers to a dub. Tonight, for those of us who wants to watch college football from now on. Man. Karen.
She said y'all losing, bro. Karen said y'all losing.
Karen, that's why the Baltimore Ravens. See, I usually don't lash out, but I'm a lash out. That's why the Baltimore Ravens lost last weekend because of that. No,
she a dirty bird, man. She a dirty bird. Karen lives in Baltimore right now, but she a dirty bird, man. Let's talk about Coach Prime, man, before we run out of time, man. Because Coach Prime and Sandy Stanford played tonight.
Yeah. Stanford and the Colorado Buffaloes are going on the field tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. So right here in an hour or so, the kickoff is going to happen. After taking those 2 L's to USC and Oregon, which everybody knew was going to come, Colorado struggled a little bit against Arizona State last week, but they came out with a dub. And they are already 2 wins away. After tonight, 1 win away possibly from being bowl eligible. And we're still in early to mid-October. What Coach Prime has done is instill into that Colorado program a sense of pride, a sense of we can, a sense of we will, a sense of we expect to, not only with swagger, but with the individual players on those key positions to make a difference in real time, led by their Heisman hopeful, Shedeur Sanders, who is just balling out. But you said something weeks ago. After the second week of the season, he holds the ball too long. Why do you think Shedeur holds the ball as long as he does, and will it eventually come back to bite them, or more specifically tonight?
Well, Shedeur he holds the ball too long because he's trying to extend plays. Now, some people say that he holds the ball too long because he don't want to affect his stats. It's better to take a sack than, which that really don't make sense to me. But I just think he's trying to extend plays or trying to make plays. And I just think that he need to realize that sometimes the best thing you can do is just throw the ball away. But they got Travis Hunter coming back tonight. And the Colorado Buffaloes, I mean, even if they don't win another game this year, bro, they already ahead of schedule. They already ahead of schedule. And Coach Prime has changed what college football look like right now. As much as some people don't want to admit it, I ain't afraid to admit it. I like what I see. I like what he done, and he done forced some other coaches to adjust, or they about to get left behind too.
Yes, sir. I concur 100%, and I'm picking the Colorado Buffaloes to win tonight's game. Any parting shots for the viewing audience and the entire RoundTable family, bro?
No, man. Again, as always, man, I thank everybody for coming on here, giving us at least an hour of their time. I appreciate all the comments, people sharing the page, man. We truly do. I look forward to coming on every Tuesday and Friday to conversate with you, but also to see the people that come on here and us converse, man. So I just want to tell everybody, I love y'all. Y'all have a great weekend, and I'm looking forward for us to talk about what went on this weekend on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I echo everything that you said. Only thing I will add is that at some point in the very near future, we will be inviting one of the guests who are providing commentary on a regular basis to come on camera and join us and engage in this conversation. So be ready for that invitation, and we're going to continue to alternate who those guests are. So definitely looking forward to that as the season progresses.
Right,
thank you all.
Drew, right fast. Hey, you might, depending on the outcome of Monday night games, we might be bringing Troy can sit in for me.
So Troy, be ready on Tuesday if Dallas loses, because Griff might pull a hammy. But to the rest of the viewing audience, thank you for joining us on this episode. Have a safe and blessed weekend. Hopefully your team has some success this weekend, whoever they are playing. And we will see everyone back Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Y'all be safe, be blessed, do something nice for someone this weekend. Y'all take care of each other. Be breezy.